We have so many. Okay, oh, okay. Does anybody have, that was new. Does anybody have anyone on here that this is their first gold call that you want to shout them out or welcome them on here?
I do. I don't know if
Who?
she's on yet. Tara. I don't know if she's on yet because it's dinner time here, but I can't see her. I don't think she's on yet. But Tara's here. And well, Carly can announce her girl.
Jordan already said hi to Dora as soon as she came on.
I did. I'm such a bad person. I was so excited.
She's super excited to be here. She said she only ran for gold just to come on the call.
Yes. And the paycheck, but the call too.
I don't know if Tori's on yet, but Tori Bushman, Fast Start Senior Silver, double ranked to Fast Start Gold last month. And that was her first full month, you guys.
Insane. That's awesome. I feel like that's going to be our new normal with our new comp plan, you guys. If we don't see Fast Start Silvers and Golds popping up like daisies, we're doing something wrong.
I don't know if Julie Oglesby is on yet, but she is amazing and she went gold this last month too.
Anybody else? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about recruiting. First off, you guys, I feel like I have been totally out of the loop. My family and we have been traveling for over a week now. And I feel like this is like, welcome back to the real world. But like, what a gift that we can just do that, right? Like, this is something that we have worked towards and was on our dream board for a long time. So it's really, really cool that we've been able to do this. And I'm currently sitting in my sister's bathroom in Texas while my kids sleep in my bed. We're going to talk about recruiting tonight. And not just in the way of like, here's the system, because here's the deal, you guys. You guys are leaders. You are smart, brilliant women. You know the system. You know how to send messages. You know how to share third-party tools, how to invite people to stuff. You know the system, but we're going to talk tonight a little bit more about how we've gotten creative with recruiting, or maybe it was a headspace that we had to work through, or maybe it was just a certain situation where a warm market was a little bit dry. And we had to go figure out a way to find a new market for a second while we figured this one out, right? And so we've been there. So I wrote, this is what I have written down at the beginning, and then Joanna and I are going to run through some situations. Emily's going to finish us off with some of her top tips for recruiting. But what I wrote down was, I remember when I went senior gold, y'all, first off, I had never watched a training video that was longer than 5 minutes. No joke. Did not think that I didn't think I needed to make time for that. So I wasn't running a business. I was running a hobby. I remember when I was senior gold thinking my warm market is done. We were going into the holiday season. And I was like, my warm market's over. Nobody's reaching out to me anymore. I don't have anybody to talk to. Like all the people that had liked and commented on my stuff, I'd messaged all them. I was like, I don't even know what to do next. Like I felt so stuck and like couldn't even figure it out. Okay. And then it happened to me again when I went Emerald. But it wasn't really, I was stuck. It was more mental. We had started a new contest and I was like, I have to go recruit. I have to go recruit. Like that was my mind. I have to go recruit. I have to go do this. And I just created this own little like mental block for myself that wasn't real. Okay. It was something I created for myself. And so I want to tell you a couple of things. Two things is recruiting requires a positive mindset and consistent action. Anytime I have felt like I am not recruiting, I go look back the last 60 days. Have I been consistent with sending messages? The answer is probably no. And then I also have to check my mindset. Y'all, our posture, I'm going to talk about this just for a second because your posture when you're recruiting says a lot about who you're going to recruit and the amount of people you're going to recruit. If you are going into recruiting thinking, I suck, I'm not good at this, I'm afraid of this, I have a lot of scarcity around this, you will suck. You will have a lot of scarcity around this, okay? So if you can go into this with a positive posture and say those affirmations before you go into recruiting, get your mind in the right place, and then get your feet moving, I promise you will recruit. How many times have you guys like looked at your numbers and you're like, I'm not where I am. I think I'm just not even gonna look at it anymore. I'm just gonna avoid it, okay? Avoiding gets us absolutely nowhere. The other thing I was going to tell you is there's two ways we can recruit. Y'all know this. You are smart, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. There's two ways to recruit people. You start the conversation, or they are starting the conversation with you. They are starting the conversation with you because you are giving them a lot of stuff that they're liking on your social media, attraction marketing, adding value to them, educating them. Okay, so they're either coming to you based on the information you're putting out, or you are starting the conversation with them. At the end of the day, recruiting is a numbers game. You guys, we're going to talk business for a second. Yes, I love changing lives. I love talking products, but I want to talk to you about the numbers of recruiting for just a second. Okay. So at the end of the day, this is a numbers game. If you are not talking to people, getting the numbers in your favor, you will not recruit. You will not reach the goals. You have to have that business hat on sometimes when you are recruiting. Okay. All right. So let me flip over my notes. So Emily just asked Joanna and I the other day when we were talking about what do we want this call to look like. She said, how do y'all recruit? Like, how did you recruit? What were those things that you did? So I'm just going to give you some of the ones that I did, and then Joanna is going to go next. And if y'all have questions, please put them in the chat because I'll check them. So for me, being unorganized in recruiting was a big one. I have to be organized. Anybody ever sat down to do your IPA and you get down there and you are taking 20 and 30 minutes to get ready, or you don't know who you're going to reach out to during this time. So you spend 30 minutes looking through social media. You spend 30 minutes going back and looking at who commented, who liked, who viewed your poll today. Okay. So what I did when I started, and I was so good at this, I would always have lists of 100. I actually found my old notebook. Y'all, I had 100 spaces at all times. And as soon as somebody would sign up, I would mark their name off, and they would go into my customer care little bin, and I would put a new name there all the time. I did this for almost 2 years. And y'all, it was the most effective thing for me, is keeping lists. It really took away so much of the scary. I could just sit down and do it. And then another thing for recruiting for me is I wanted to make sure that I was appealing to people in the way that they needed to be, not appealed to, but you know what I mean. I wanted to talk their language. So for example, I'm a red personality. And if somebody would have sent me this long drawn out, beautiful message, I probably would have never read it because I don't read things longer than 1 or 2 sentences. And if it doesn't have bullet points, I'm probably definitely not going to read it. So I really have to be like, I really like to go back and look, okay, did I send this person a yellow message? Did I send them a message that might appeal to a yellow personality? Okay, I'm going to go try leading with a trip this time. Let's see if they're blue. Let's see if I can figure this out. And then maybe if they're not, I might try, and if in a month or 2 after I've been commenting and liking and interacting with them and learning more about them, maybe I need to go try and learn about, see if maybe they're red. Maybe I need to show them the comp plan. So anyway, that was another way that I really got creative, was I was leading in different ways with different messages. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I know it has been for me. When I felt like I needed a new funnel, I remember, and Joanna, you can probably remember which Robinson sister it was, but it was either Laura or Donnelly did a video on the Plexus Ambassador community page. I'm sure it's still there. She talked about working in groups. Do you remember which one it was? Okay, she said Laura. If we can find that, y'all, do y'all remember that video, Emily? We need to find that because it was really good. We'll find that for y'all. But anyway, I watched that video, and so I started going into groups. And y'all, I'm not talking about just connecting with complete strangers here, okay? We're not being weird here. I would go to a coach's wife group, for example, and I would actually connect. Like I have found legitimate friends who I find legitimate advice from in a space outside of Plexus that I'm in, this coach's wife space. So what I do is I connect with them. We end up adding each other as friends, and I have a rule. It works every time. I'm not even kidding you guys. If I can add someone as a friend from a mom group and be very intentional with commenting, liking, learning about them, being a friend with them, 3 months, within 90 days, they will sign up. 95% of the time.
Hey, Jordan, can you tell, because I think for me, like hearing that, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. But how? Like, how do you go from being a stranger in a group to actually having an authentic relationship with somebody? So will you talk about Taylor? Like, I know that you shared about Taylor, you'd see a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that video will also help you guys because she does talk about this. But for me, it was actually like learning about them. Like the very first message I ever sent Taylor was, hey, I remember this because I've screenshotted it so many times and sent it as examples, but I said, hey, you're a Christian mom, I'm a Christian mom. I need some more like Christian women on my newsfeed. Can we be friends? And she was like, heck yeah. And then the next message I sent was, hey, I saw you were looking for a job. I have no idea if you do network marketing. I know we haven't been friends that long, but I just want to let you know that I'm going to be a millionaire one day with Plexus. So if you want to know more about this, then I want to talk to you about it. And she said, no, thank you. I don't want to do network marketing. And I kept being her friend. We learned that our kids had the same names. Our husbands had the same birthday. Taylor, you should probably tell me. I can't remember things right now, but so we just connected over normal things. We both had the same beliefs on certain health things, and so anyway, we actually became friends. And she said, I remember one time, I think it was at our Jules retreat or Ruby's retreat recently, she said, I thought it was kind of creepy because I felt like every time I would make a post on this specific group I met her in, she was like, you were always commenting, but it's because we were friends in that group. So it would always show it to me on my news feed. So I'd be like, oh, hey, okay. It's kind of creepy, but it totally works. So there's that. Does that help a little, Emily? Okay. So Facebook groups have been really helpful for me. I've also kind of done this on Instagram, but not as much. I'm not an Instagrammy person in that way. But what I have found is like my niche is coach's wives, right? So I will search coach's wife, the hashtag. There's certain hashtags that I share, or I'll search, and then I will go follow. Not y'all. I'm not like talking like 10 people here. I'm like talking like 2 or 3 people at a time, and be very intentional with connecting with them. And if we figure out we can connect, and they're my people, they're going to be on my team one day. And I have another girl who's a coach's wife. I met on Instagram, and she's already referred 2 people to me over the last year. Like nothing huge, but she's loving her products, and that's all that really matters, right? So recruiting, every single person counts to me. Okay. So the other one is, okay. So I love attraction marketing, and it's really something that it does help me recruit out. Yes, we need to be in our messengers every day. I used to send 5 messages a day, especially in months that I really wanted to rank up. But I want to talk about attraction marketing just for a second, because I went back and looked at some of my posts from about 3 years ago, and I was like, man, I was talking directly to those girls who were tired and who wanted to work from home every single day. And I was so specific about posting to that person. So I just want to encourage you to know who you're marketing to. Who are you posting to? I remember Rebecca Folks one time did I'm sure we can find the recording, but she talked about having this avatar in mind of who you want to talk to. What is her name? What does she look like? What does her day-to-day look like? And so what I remember I was appealing to Chandler Davis Anderson over here, the girl who was going to be a mom, who didn't want to be in corporate world, who didn't want to wear pants, who didn't like alarm clocks. Like that was me. And that's who I was appealing to. So I just want to encourage you to know who you're posting to, because that's who you're going to attract. Okay. I think the only other thing that I had on here was messaging. You guys, I don't know. What do y'all like? How many messages do y'all send a day? I'm just curious. How many new conversations do you start every day or every week about Plexus? I'm just curious. Put it in the comments if you wouldn't mind. There's no shame. I'm just genuinely curious. I don't start near enough right now, but when I was like gung ho, I am going emerald, y'all, I was sending 2 to 5 messages probably a day, and probably more if I included follow-ups. I mean, it was a lot, but you guys, this is a numbers game. So I just want to encourage you, if you are not recruiting like you want to recruit, go send some messages. It's the cure. Action is the cure here. Okay, Joanna, do you want to share yours?
Hey, yeah, I loved all of that because I do a lot. It's like pretty much the same thing. So I remember back when I was gold, I got to a point where I felt stuck because I was like, I have no idea who else to reach out to. Like, I have no one left to talk to about Plexus. I've either talked to them all, either they've, signed up, told me no, told me not now, or whatever. And that is when I watched Laura Robinson's video on making new friends from groups and growing your network in groups specifically. She's so good at this. And so watch her video. But basically, it's super simple. You find one or two, no more than that. You find one or two groups that you really connect with based on what you love, what you're passionate about, hobbies, or whatever. And it took me a long time. I remember feeling really frustrated because I could not find, like, I joined this mom's group and it was intense. Like, they were mean. And so I was like scared to say anything or anything in that group. And so I left that after a while. But it took me a while to find a group that I really loved. Like, I really liked the people in it. And it was a police wives group. And I joined like multiple police wives groups until I found the one that I really, really liked. And that one, so Gina, I saw her on this call. I met her on that group. And she liked my post one day and I reached out to her and I said, hey, thanks so much for liking my post. And I just asked her, like, have you tried Plexus? I can't remember specifically what I said, but it was basically along those lines. And she had tried it a couple years ago and she wanted to try it again. And she ended up signing up under me. And now she is on her way to senior gold. And what I did to make friends in the group is you make a post, like you are really consistent with posting every so often, maybe a couple times a week, and then you are intentional with anyone who likes or comments. Anyone who comments on your post, you go and like their comment and you reply to their comment, and then you send them a friend request. You don't just randomly send friend requests to people until you've done that, because then they know who you are and they associate you with that group. And so they're like, oh yeah, this is my mom friend, or this is whatever. And then, like Jordan was saying, I would send them a message that had to do with the type of group that it was. And it was usually the police wives group. And so it would say something like, hey, thanks so much for accepting my friend's request. I love getting to know other Leo wives, or I love getting to connect with other Leo wives. Something like super simple like that. And that was it. And then sometimes they would message back and say, hey, oh my goodness, me too. Where are you from? And then I would say, oh, we're from here. Like, how long have you guys been in law enforcement? So sometimes we would go back and forth, but more often than not, they wouldn't say anything at all, but I would send that message, and that just kind of connected with them with that first initial, like sending that friend request, them accepting it. And then over time, either they would like a post or comment on a post, or it had been 3 months or more and I reached out to them. And so it's really pretty simple. It's not like a quick thing. Like, if you need to grow your network and develop new relationships, make new friends, like, it takes time, but it's so worth it. Like, I have hundreds of friends. And so actually last month, out of the 6 people that I signed up, 3 of them were from police wife groups that had met. And then one of them was a friend from camp, but then the other one was a complete stranger off of Instagram who had found me and followed me. She said she had followed me for a while. So that was cool. It was a military wife in Europe, which was so cool. And she's interested in the business. And then another one was just a person that we had become friends. Because another thing that I do, I want to touch on really quick, is I make friends with mutual friends. And so I would see like, oh, so-and-so that I know from camp, we have mutual friends, or I would actually know. So I would go to like, look at their friends and see who we had mutual friends with. And if we had at least like, a couple, then I would send a friend request. And so this person that signed up last month, like, we have never met. I don't even remember sending her a friend request, but we have 2 mutual friends and we have similar circles. So like, she knows people from camp days that I knew, even though we don't know each other like directly, we know people, like the same people. And she signed up last week. And so most of the people that I sign up are people that I've never met in person. Tiffany on this call, she and I had never met. She's my level 1. She's coming to convention. I'm so excited. We've never met in person yet, but her and I connected on Facebook somehow because we have lots of mutual friends. And so it's so much fun. So just a few things. Let's see. Oh, one of the things I did too is I did this like when I first started like finding groups to connect with people. like, I don't know, when I was around senior gold. And I found a mom's group in my town and we did like actual meetups. And so I got to meet people in person, and I just signed up a few people from that mom's group this year. That, I mean, it's been years since we even met up because that was back in Arizona. And so that's another idea too, is like finding a mom's group in your town that you can do like meetup, like play dates and things like that. My son or my kids get out of school tomorrow for this summer, and my son's class, like a lot of the parents want to meet up and let our kids play over the summer. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make new friends, because I mean, we chat here and there, like picking up, dropping off, but we don't really have time to actually like get to know each other. And so that is just another way. Like once I become friends with someone, I friend them on Facebook, because then when they're on Facebook, they see your stuff. Like Deb Von Bergen just did this. She bought a new house, and the person that sold the house, she friend requested her on Facebook, and she just signed up because she saw her post, and so she wanted to know what it was. So like that's the main thing, is just becoming friends with them on Facebook, however you connect with them. And then I'm making, let's see, so a little like my let's see, where am I at? A few tips, I guess, is where I'm at. So I kind of said this already, but like how I do social media, either, and this is part of my IPA too. So either they reach out to me because they saw a post, and then they said, hey, tell me more about this pink drink. Or they like or comment on a post, so I reach out to them, or they voted in a poll in my stories, or none of those. And I am just making it's been 3 or more months since we became friends, and we've had time to like comment on each other's posts and things. And so then I'll invite them to an event or something, or ask them if they've tried Plexus, or if I can share my story, or different, however I'm going to ask, but I'll send them a message. And another tip too is to unfollow most Plexus people on your Facebook, unless they're people you're wanting to follow for inspiration for posts. Have like your select few, and then like your level 1 runners, don't unfollow them. Like you want to be supporting their posts too. But sidelines, and a lot, like you don't want to be following too many Plexus people, because you want to be intentionally commenting on people's posts that are not Plexus people, because then they're going to be more likely to see your posts, and it just really, really helps. And so if you are just liking and commenting Plexus people posts, then chances are only Plexus people are seeing your posts, so we don't want that. And then as far as like what my consistent IPA looks like for recruiting, is already basically what I said. Like if someone doesn't, like, I'm trying to think, last month, mostly the people reached out to me, I think. Well, mostly they either messaged me or they commented on my post. I didn't go and message them out of the blue. But early on in my business, that is how I did most of it. It was just like reaching out to people, because that was before I had as big of a network. So I wasn't having as many likes. Like if you go way back, like I would have like 3 likes on a post, or like.
But your credibility is also raised too, Joanna, right? So like people see you, they know you're diamond. Like, so as you go, like I found it's almost easier because our credibility like raises and it's really fun. Like it's really
and
rewarding.
your consistency, not just your credibility, but your consistency, that you mean what you say. You're not in it for a quick lottery ticket. I'm going to try this for 2 months. You're still here 6 years later, still sharing.
Yes, exactly. And that's why, so just today, a friend reached out to me and she was like, hey, it's been a while since I've been on Plexus and I want to get back on it. This is what I'm dealing with. What do you recommend? And she is someone that I reached out to 4 years ago, and she replied back and she's like, hey, thanks so much. I actually already took it. Can't remember. She had tried it somehow and with someone else, and she liked it. So she was like, thanks, but no thanks. But because I'm still here 4 years later, she reached back out to me because she knew, like, I know what I'm doing and I know how to help her, because she sees my posts and she knows I'm a professional at this and I am consistent. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident and I can help you. And so she reached back out to me. It's so exciting because she is a dream teamer, you guys. I'm really excited about that. And I just think, like, if I had quit or not been as consistent, she would not, or even if I hadn't reached out to her. And I feel like a lot of times we can feel like, oh, like they didn't say anything or anything like that didn't even make a difference sending them a message, but it did, because it planted a seed. And whether or not they sign up now, like chances are they are going to eventually, because that person that they were going to go with or did go with quit because they didn't stick with it. And so it all makes a difference. Like it all is baby steps, all seeds planted, and it all moves you forward towards your goals. And that's pretty much what I've got. So
I think there are a lot of people asking specific questions about the groups, and I'm not going to be talking about the groups. So if you guys have questions, feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat specific to groups before we transition to mine.
Well, I think once you guys watched that video from Laura,
I messaged Laura because it was Laura and Marian Anderson.
it's not there.
They said they can't find it anywhere. So I don't know if we're going to find it. It was really good though.
We will find a video for y'all. We will find a video. But what I can tell you is somebody asked about larger groups. For me, I did find Taylor in a larger group, but there's just a sea of people. And what I found is that my smaller niche of like, just make one. My smaller niche is just better. So like for me, that Coach's Wife group, like I can get real cozy with them really fast because I know their life. And so, and like Joanna with the Police Wives. So like, I would really encourage you to find something that is like near and dear to your heart, not just the broad, crunchy mom group that has a million people and you can get lost in a sea of opinions. And they're usually, honestly, those are usually not very nice to network marketers, those larger groups. So anyway.
And you post to do with the page. And so your post that you're posting in the page has to do with what the page is about. And so you would post like, maybe you're looking for, like in my group, for instance, I'm looking for an idea for my police husband, like a gift, like, okay, what are you getting for your husband for Father's Day or whatever? Like those get lots of comments. And then you just go through the comments and you like and reply like, hey, thanks so much. Oh my goodness, that's such a good idea or whatever. And that's the most important part is posting, liking and commenting, liking and replying to every single comment. And then once you do that, sending them a friend's request. And then once you send them a friend request, send them just a real quick touch, like first time reach out, like just a message that's like, hey, oh my goodness, like I'm so excited to connect with you or become friends or whatever, just based on the type of group that it is. If it's a mom's group, whatever group, a hiking group, knitting group, I don't know, whatever.
Another one, because I don't have a husband that is a coach or a police officer. So like that specific thing doesn't really work for me. But one that I have found is like a local moms group. And every single one of you probably would have a local moms group if you are a mom, or a local, like Jordan was saying, like a girls' night out local one. I think women like to connect with people who are like in the same town, or you could be adding value by sharing, hey guys, go check out this festival that's happening this weekend. It was so fun for our kids last year. It's free. Like you can be adding value at that route as well. Any other questions? And I know a ton of people like Tamara Holloway, she's found a ton of her jewels through big groups like that. So it's very effective if you can hone in on that. Any other questions before we move on to mine real quick? Okay, so I just have here, I have my top 7 lists for recruiting. So if you have a pen and a paper, feel free to write this down for you or for your team if you feel like it would be applicable. As I was sitting here thinking through, okay, when I was a gold ambassador, like what did I need to hear? Well, what I needed to hear then was what I also needed to hear when I was an emerald, but it was also what I needed to hear when I was first starting out. Like you always are going to be going back to the basics, but don't ever think, like Jordan was saying, like you've reached it, like you're gold. You don't need to be training. You don't need to be growing yourself. We do. We need to constantly be going back. And constantly growing ourselves. And so this is not specific to you've outgrown your warm market. This is just recruiting tips in general. And I have 7 of them right here. So the first one I have is understand the value, also known as have freaking huge belief. Preston Pugmire, and I'm totally going to butcher this, but he said something to the effect of, you can be doing all of the things, but if you don't believe in what you're doing or what you're sharing, you just need to stop because it's not going to be successful. If you don't believe in what you're sharing, just stop. And so I found myself at that place when I was a fresh gold ambassador for a full month, and I had to go and rebuild my belief. I had that choice, that crossroads of, am I going to stick with this doubt and just kind of let everything fade, what I've worked really hard for, or am I going to like dive into this and really start rebuilding my belief? So you get that choice. So understanding the value of what you are sharing, because when you understand the value of what you're sharing, you're going to have more confidence when you reach out. When you reach out to somebody and you're meek and mild and you're nervous and you're afraid of what they're going to think, you're afraid of what they might say, that air comes out. Like, people sense that. But if you understand this is an opportunity that can bless so many people. This is an opportunity of health products that can totally help and change and help you, help your family. And I'm simply sharing it and inviting. When you have that understanding of that value, it changes everything. It changes the way that you communicate and the air that comes out of you. The second is be coachable. You guys, oh my, I'm telling you right now, Kara Carrington, the moment she signed up with me, I knew that she was going to be a jewel. I knew she was going to be a diamond because she was so incredibly coachable. And she still is as an Emerald Ambassador. I don't know if she's still on here, but like from day one, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And I would give her points of things to do, and she wouldn't just talk it. She'd get into action, and she'd come back a few days later. Okay, I've done this. Now tell me what to do. Be coachable and be humble. When you go, this was something that was huge for me when I was recruiting, and I still do this with Tamara from time to time. When I start to send out messages, or if I am following up with somebody, or somebody has responded to me and I don't know how to respond, I would screenshot it and send it to Tamara. And I'd say, help me, can you help me with this, when I was first starting? And she would craft up a really beautiful response. And that helped shape me, and that helped shape the way that I was now responding. And that's duplicated down to my team. And so there's such power in being coachable and being willing to listen and to be vulnerable with your upline and say, hey, can you take a look at this message that I'm about to send to this crazy dream teamer? Would you give me any tips, any critiques? And be okay if they take out the entire message and say, hey, let's start over. They want to help you. That is part of this, being coachable. And also, like, in that, talking through these groups, like, train yourself. If you're hearing that people are finding such value in groups, be coachable and start going and looking and diving into that. Continually improving yourself. The third thing I have is being bold. That's something that I'm super, super passionate about. But being bold in like a beautiful and gentle way. I know Jordan was saying something about, like, if somebody sends me like this long, big, beautiful thing, like, I still think you can be beautiful. You don't have to be long. I don't want you to be long. This is sounding really inappropriate. That's, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry. Okay. But being bold in what you are sharing with your people. If you know that Lindsay is going to be an incredible business builder, you know that she's got what it takes, you go and boldly tell Lindsay, I see this in you, and I think you would kill at this business. Have you ever thought of doing anything like this? If you feel it, tell them. That's so, so important. The fourth thing, and I'm not reading any of these because I don't want to get distracted, but I will go back and look at them if you are asking questions. The fourth thing I have here is be consistent. And I've got, I'm going to open this up a little bit more because I have a quote that I thought was really beautiful. And now I can't remember who said it. I think it was just inc.com actually. It says consistency. Did I already say what number 4 was? Be consistent. And it says consistency is the difference between failure and success. Let me just say that one more time. Consistency is the difference between failure and success. So if you want to be successful, you have to be consistent in any area of your life. If you want to get a six-pack, you have to be consistent in doing your ab work. You can't just be random willy-nilly on it and then one day you're going to wake up with a six-pack. That doesn't happen. You have to be consistent with the things that you want to find success with. And when I say being consistent, I'm talking about consistency in your posting, in your messaging, in your following up, and in your learning. As you're learning, those are the 4 things that you have to be consistent with. Something else that they say here in this inc.com, and I can put it into all our threads if you guys want me to, but I loved it. He says, business growth requires a track record of success. You can't establish a track record if you are constantly shifting gears or trying new tactics. Many efforts fail before they get to the finish line, but not because the tactic was flawed, or goals weren't clear. The problem is often that the team simply didn't stay the course to achieve the objective. We have to be consistent in what we are doing, or we will fail. Number 5 is being authentic. Just like I was sharing with the being bold, if you feel it, speak it. Something I like to do when I am reaching out to people, because that's a scary thing. No matter how good of a relationship you have with people, or how great you are, how talented and polished you are with your messages, it is scary to reach out to people. And so what I had to tell myself from day one is, if I were to see Andy in an alley, if I were to meet Andy in an alley, is this how I would speak to her? Like, would I say to her what I'm saying in my message, or am I trying to be so perfectly polished and like, you know, exactly how I'm hearing other people say it, that it's not me? You have to be authentic and speak your heart. Use those examples that you're seeing in the different script examples in Jordan's page and Joanna's page and my page. Definitely use those to grow and to polish yourself. But use your voice and stop trying to be like this perfect little robot. And that leads into number 6, be imperfect. John Acuff says, there's no such thing as perfect. You can always improve. So perfectionism draws an ever-moving, ever-expanding finish line that you never reach. So I remember going to a leaders retreat, and John Maxwell spoke, and he talked about perfectionism. And he talked about how you have so many people that are waiting for perfect, like in our situation, like they want to have the perfect post. They want to have the perfect message. They want to have the perfect follow-up. And they just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And what that's doing is drawing out that finish line. And he said, but by the time you do it, it's not going to be perfect anyway. So you've just wasted all of this time. So be imperfect, but be in relentless pursuit of improvement, because nothing we ever will do will be perfect. But if we are constantly in pursuit of improvement, of growing and polishing, that's where the beauty comes. And then the last tip that I have here is number 7. And this is something that from day one, we have to work with all the way to now, Diamond. You still have to repeat this over and over and over. You have to know your worth, and you have to know your heart. We get it. We totally understand, like the nervous poops and the pit in your stomach when you spend 2 weeks perfecting, working on that message to that person that's super, super scary, and you finally have the nerve and you push send and you see that little bubble pop up. They've looked at your message and nothing. They say nothing. And that red light comes over you of they hate me. They are probably bashing me to their husband, to our friend group. They probably are rolling their eyes at every single thing that I am sharing in my business. We create all of this drama that is unnecessary, and it's not truth. And we have to go back to understand our heart in this is because we understand the value of these products. We understand the value of this opportunity, and our heart is to help. I love Taryn Thomas. She said this the other day at our retreat. She said she's in the service, or she has the heart of service. And that's what all of us should have. We should all have a heart of service. And if you have a heart of service, and if you are doing this beautifully and with a heart for other people, and you are sharing and inviting because you know it can help other people, and you have a relationship with the Lord, and you know that He made you and He planted a peace in your soul, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's scary, but He planted a peace in your soul that this is something that you ought to pursue. Know your worth, know your value, and know your heart when you are sharing to other people. Real friends who know you will know your heart. They may not support you. They may not ever do plexus with you, but they will know your heart. And so rest in that. So cool your jets, find your worth in the Lord, know your heart, and the one who made you. So those are my 7 tips from day 1 to diamond, double diamond. I will preach that until I'm dead. Anybody have any thoughts or any questions? And then we're going to get to tangible things that you guys have done for your recruiting. Okay. I really, really loved our second to last call over retention. And so many of you guys gave really, really great tips on what you guys have done for your retention. And so we would just love to open this up for the next few minutes and love for you guys to share some ways that you have found success with your recruiting. So unmute yourself and be bold and brave and share.
This is going to sound very simple, but I took a very, well, the month of December, I took a lot of time to pray, and I'd always put prayer as a focal point of my business, but I had never asked God to give me specific names of people. I just said, bring me the people that need it. But I just started really shifting my mindset of, God, give me the names of people that you would like for me to reach out to. And that, I feel like that month leading into these last 6 months has changed my business in a huge way. And Rachel is on here tonight. She was one of those names that I had. I keep a list like Jordan was talking about of 100. She had been starred for quite some time, and I don't know why I had never reached out to her. And I just, one night in December, I said, this is it. We're going to do it. And having her and her team has changed everything for my team. But yeah, just being specific about not just people, but who, like what people do I want?
Lauren Davis, didn't you recruit like 6 people last month or something crazy? I mean, I would like to hear your tips on how you did it.
I was trying to find my mute button. Well, one of them was actually just a reach out message that I sent to her because she was continuously liking my posts. And so I finally just reached out to her. And I initially reached out to her about the business. Turns out she had a lot of health issues. And so she soon became super passionate about sharing because it's helped her so much. Another girl I met on Instagram, just being consistent and showing up on Instagram. And she reached out to me because she was like, I really just like the way that you share. It just like, you don't seem salesy, like you seem legit. And we shared a common health issue. And so she reached out to me. Another girl was someone that signed up like 3 years ago, and then she stopped taking her products and completely ghosted me. I mean, like completely. It was just like so awkward. But I kept loving on her and being her friend. And then she came back and she was like, I want to work the business. I'm going to convention. Like it was just like a God thing. Like it was nothing that I don't feel like I did necessarily this month for her, but I think it was just being there for her, throughout her season that she was in. I don't remember who else I signed up. Oh, another girl I've been talking to for like 3 years. And I think she just kind of had it at her wit's end. She was just like, I can't take these 20 medications anymore. Like, what can you do with help me with? But I think the biggest thing is just being consistent and showing up, kind of like Joanna said, like the reason that person came back and reached out to her is because she knows she's legit and she's not going anywhere. She's not quitting. Like she's going to be here for her forever and always, So I think that's probably the biggest thing is just consistency.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's no special sauce. There's no like one particular personality is the personality that recruits people. Like Jordan and Joanna and I, like all three of us are very different personalities, but it's all just in that consistency, the heart, the belief, and not giving up, loving your people, being authentic. So just rest in the fact that Lauren's sitting here saying that she had a girl that ghosted her for 3 years and now she is ready to run. Rest in the fact that Joanna had no social media and here she is now 6 years later at the very top of the company. Be coachable, be consistent, be courageous, and don't give up. Pair up with people to push you and have fun, because that also really radiates from everything that you do. I think we probably should end it, right? I think that there's not a whole lot more. Like it's just go after it. Just do it.
And that's the funny thing, y'all. Is like, yeah, let's do a call on recruiting, but it's like, go get your craft done. Like, go send the messages, get the numbers in your favor. But if you do feel like you're like, okay, I don't think I'm saying the right thing. I personally love Carissa Casey's. I just always type in the word verbiage on our team page, and it's a video she did. It's like an hour long. It's literally one of the first videos I watched after my I had to get rid of my pride, and I was only watching 3 and 5 minute long videos. It's so good. So if you haven't ever watched that video, it's really good. I'll probably drop it in our thread. I'll send it to y'all too. But thank y'all so much for being on tonight. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm pumped for June. I am pumped. And I know for our team, nothing is changing. We are recommending combos. We are going to have a high recruiting month. We are going to have a high duplication month. Like, it's going to be a really fun month. And I'm super excited for y'all. And if y'all have any ideas for our topics going forward, please send them to me and Emily and Joanna, because we would love to hear them. And that's it.
I have to tell you, next month's topic, do you want to know what it is? I'm really excited about it. Next month's topic is duplication and leading a team that's not yet caught the vision. That's going to be a good one. So make sure that you and your leaders have 100 points at the end of this month, so that way you can hop on the call. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.